Hi, lovely to have here at the Krida Experience Center the glamorous, gorgeous Vidya Singh, fitness enthusiast, wedding planner from the royal family of Vijayanagaram, and here to share with us her experiences of what she played as a child. We've got to hear what the royals did, perhaps.
I don't think we did anything very different. But to be honest, it was a wonderful childhood growing up our years in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And I think we had so little that we had available that we had to create games and things for ourselves. So, and I think I have very happy memories of playing all of these games. And we played a lot, not just among the kids, but kids against adults and grandmothers. And
so, who do you remember most playing this game?
I think we had an older cousin called Suhasa.
Okay.
So she was very good at it, and I remember all of us.
And she taught you to play the game.
And all of us had a board, the folding board, which we had in those days, and the shell game. And then this was a very popular because it was like on a Sunday afternoon, post lunch or before lunch, games
all
for
sat
the
down
children.
And played.
Yeah, it would be a family kind of a get together. So
and grandparents,
aunts, everyone would join in.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had other games like the 5 stones. What is it called?
Tossing and picking.
Tossing and picking up the 5 stones. That was hugely popular, and those stones were very precious.
Yeah.
Because as you played them, they
became rounder,
smoother and rounder. So that, again, I was very good at that, I have to admit. And then
so we have a demo of you playing it perhaps today after this is over? We'll try. We'll give it a shot.
I haven't played it in 50, 60 years maybe. But anyways, so the other game that we played was what they used to draw on the floor or in the sand. And little squares and
we used to call it Pandi here.
It was called Pandi. We must have had another name in Telugu for it, but I can't remember that name.
Tokkudubilla.
Tokkudubilla is what we had. And you throw the stone and you hop from
one place to another.
It was a superb game. And you had to really have some skills to be able to stay steady and get the
and then stamp on it and then push it.
All that. There was a technique to that as well.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of other games. Like I remember another superb game which we used to play. Not outdoors, but semi-outdoors. It was called Four Corners.
Okay.
So a lot of houses had courtyards with pillars.
Yeah.
So 4 pillars, people would cross and run.
You had a catcher in the middle.
You had a catcher in the middle who would try to catch you. And you would
that was a very popular game in the old houses.
Yes, in the old houses.
Temples where they had pillars and all that.
4 corners. That was a very popular game.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I remember some Kalyana Mandapam, the kids were all playing, creating such a ruckus. Someone had to come and tell us to shut up. The wedding is going on.
Really. And then the other game was what commonly was called 7 tiles. Hugely popular, and I think
outdoors,
we had teams. That was an outdoor, maybe in the evening or something. And again, building the little tower with the 7 tiles, and then each team would take turns to break it down. Then you have to rebuild
space,
space. All of us had gardens, and there was space for that. So that was
space is becoming one of the biggest constraints.
Hugely popular game too. And I think those days we could go to the beach. Marina Beach was a beautiful place to go to.
What did you play at the beach? Do you remember?
Again, these kind of games.
You played all these same games, catching.
And then
did you ever, other than building sandcastles, there's this lovely game where you bury something in the sand. Have you ever played that? It's called, I think, Dusiata or something in Telugu. I don't know if you've
And you have to put your hand
in and find it. Does it ring a bell?
I remember that. It was just such a charming time in our lives, I think, that most people played these games. Whatever community or these games were pretty common among kids of that time. Not just kids, even adults, I think. And,
so what would be your favorite memory of play? All-time favorite
I think it could be, we had a farm a little outside Madras, and on a lot of weekends we would go there to stay overnight. and all of us sleep like dormitory style in the courtyard, in the middle of the courtyard. And at night, we played a lot of these four
corners
games, and then of course told ghost stories. And people would those were really happy.
And when
memories.
you went, it was what, you and your
cousins, parents, my cousins' parents, family, aunts.
And you had a lot of cousins.
We had a lot of family.
That
here.
is special.
Because being a Madras presidency, a lot of the Andhra royal families, even for instance Travancore, Pudukkottai, all the Tamil, all of them had homes here because this was the capital for the British. So from those days, from the 50s onwards, all of them had their homes here. So there was a large community. I think our Andhra families itself, there may have been about at least 20 families that had homes here.
Nice.
So whether you talk Pittapuram, Bogvili, Chikkavaram, Mailavaram, Vijayanagaram, there were lots of families who had homes. So there was a very large community.
And you all played together.
And Bommal Koluvu, the Dolls Festival was a very big deal. And I think I'm proud to say my mother's at our home in Rattan Gate, that probably was one of the most fantastic of all the Kolus. Now people are doing, but we had a huge gymnasium at the back, and besides the steps, she would have one entire side Ramayana, and one side was the village, and they would grow
mustard
to grow like fields. And the center would be a rangoli, and that same cousin Suhasa, she was very artistic, so she would do a 6-foot rangoli. And my mother would order, suppose it was Shakuntalam, the theme. Shakuntala would be in the middle, and my mother would order scenes, dolls from Triplicane. And she would get the scenes.
All the scenes.
She would sit with the Sanskrit master, organize the scenes.
And you used to be
dolls,
part of it as a child?
Fully organizing, helping. Not just me, but all the cousins would come.
So it was all about a lot of companionship, cousins.
Like we had a mountain scene. So I had 2 gangs of boy cousins whose job was to do the mountain. So one would build the mountain and the paths and the streams. Evening, the next lot would come, knock it down and rebuild it. Full competition. So very, very happy growing up days, I think, in
a lot
the
of
city.
people together.
A lot of togetherness.
Our kids don't see that much of interaction with cousins. And
although we didn't have joint families as such. One family had, but rest of us were independent family. But we were
holiday
together.
time, weekends.
Going to Mahabalipuram, spending the night there in that government guest house. Again, sleeping on the veranda and playing these kind of that pandi and all
Absolutely.
that. At that time, Tokkudu Billa was a very popular. It could be played anywhere. Any ground. You just take a stick and draw it and play.
So perhaps that's where your fitness all started.
That
core fitness has to be fabulous for Tokkudu Billa.
Yes. I think my father was the forerunner before anyone heard of fitness. I think he was very much into it, and I think we've imbibed a lot from him. But I think this is something that's very unique to our maybe South India. I'm not sure if these
there are games in the north as well. Most of our games are similar across. But I think to a great extent South India has preserved more games for a longer period of time. I think we've in many ways been isolated a little from the politics of the north, and that's helped us preserve a lot.
Absolutely. But the sad thing is, I think post the 70s, I don't think these games were played regularly by children. Because by then technology came in and TVs came sometime.
Families started becoming, families are moving away. Like when I was growing up, all my cousins were in Chennai.
That's right.
My kids don't have a single cousin in Chennai.
That's right.
So everyone's scattered across the world. So.
But even play things like Snakes and Ladders, Ludo. These were games, I mean, that's all we did.
And I think also a lot of unstructured play. There was no goal. You didn't have to win or lose or win a competition. It was just play for play's sake.
There was a cricket kind of oriented game called rounders. So you have the person who's batting stands with the bat in front of you. The idea is to get him out by hitting his legs with the ball, tennis ball.
It was a cross between baseball and cricket, if I remember.
It was a fun game. We played that all the time. Big fights with everyone because wherever the ball went, you have to throw it from there. So it's
Yeah.
it was great fun. I remember that game very well. We played that a lot. So it was we had to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
There was nothing, no TV at all.
No TV, no computer.
TV came to I think late 60s,
Yeah, and even then, what you had
mid
some
60s.
2.25 programs you
Yeah.
could watch.
Yeah.
There was not much.
I think the first time I saw TV was in 1964
Yeah.
in Delhi.
Huh.
I remember in an uncle's place watching a black and
Black
white,
and
all
white,
sitting on
yeah.
the floor, all the kids
And
sitting
you had
on the floor.
Oleum, I
Yeah.
remember.
No, I think we
Or what was
watched
it
the
called? Chitrahar.
Republic Day parade we watched
Yeah.
on the TV. That was my first time seeing a TV, I think. But I think we were very, I think, a unique group
Of cousins.
not
together.
just us, but
Cousins,
the whole,
families, yeah.
I think the whole society at that time,
Yeah.
our lives were simple.
That's
There's
very simple.
family oriented, simple games, simple things.
Yeah.
There was not so much of competition and I must be the best. And
Yeah.
we all played sport anyway. I was into tennis from when I was 10 years old or so. But so
that
we
was
had
the most structured
that
part.
was more structured.
This was the fun.
Yeah,
I know
to
what
be
you
with the
mean.
cousins and family and
Yeah, I know
mostly
what you
that.
mean.
And most of us, because we had such a large family group, we didn't need outside friends so much.
Yeah.
It was more us
Yeah.
playing together weekends and picnics, and
In large.
nobody takes picnics nowadays.
Yeah.
Those days it was like at least once a month you take. Elliot's Beach was deserted. There was nothing there. There was no Besson Nagar.
Moonlight picnic on
Yeah,
Elliot's
yeah,
Beach. I
at
remember
night.
that.
We also used to go, everyone take food and the staff would come and set out everything.
And there's that, I remember we used to tell ghost stories.
Yes,
at Elliot's
yes.
Beach.
And Besson Nagar did not exist. It was
Yeah.
sand dunes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have such clear memory. That was way till the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
No, there was no Besson Nagar. It was only sand dunes.
I remember going for moonlight picnics at
Yeah.
Besson Nagar Beach.
Yeah. And I think even we used to go horse riding. So once every few months, they would bring the horses to Elliot's Beach.
Ah,
And we used to ride on the beach at night from the governor's bungalow.
okay.
That's where we would gather. Beautiful bungalow also. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened to it now. And then have dinner at the bungalow. The
Horses
Sicers
will
would
go
take
back.
the horses back. And we would be there.
That
Such
is truly
amazing memories.
Absolutely. Childhood
I
at
think
its best.
you're taking me back to so many. I mean, it's just flooding my
That's
mind.
the idea,
Yeah.
I did an event some time ago and this old gentleman, military gentleman, got up and saluted me and said,
Yes.
"Man, you built a time machine. You're taking me
Truly.
back in time."
Truly, that is.
And that's what games
yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
It's all about the game.
And what joy it brings. Simple joys.
Yeah.
That's what, for me, that's the
True.
tagline, I think.
Yeah.
Very simple joys and a simple life. We all led simple lives.
So what did you take to eat at the picnic? What was a typical picnic
I
menu?
think they would make Indian
Sandwiches
food.
or
No, sandwiches also if it was an evening thing. But
or was it like
juices.
recreate Enid Blyton kind of picnic?
No. It was more
practical
food.
Indian food.
If it was tea time picnic, then sandwiches and cakes and all that. But otherwise, proper rice and
Okay.
vegetables. And the staff would come to serve and
serve.
pack everything and take it away. Building how we used to play house.
Yeah.
That was another simple
And
game.
build sandcastles.
Yeah, sandcastles. So
Lovely
cute,
times.
lovely times, Vinita. So happy to
Think of
remember,
it all,
remember it
yes.
and think about it.
That
It's
was
lovely.
the idea of this whole exercise, to get
Yeah.
people to remember their memories and share
And
it.
everyone
because-
will have that.
Yeah, and everyone's is so different,
Yes, yes.
That's what we're doing. So
Nice.
thank you for coming, sharing
you.
your lovely
So
memories.
sweet. Thank you for
And-
inviting me. I think it was a pleasure.
And
to
it's
go
all
back
about
in
the
time.
games all the time.